Hi, everyone. This is Carolynne from NonnasNuttykrafts, and I'm all the way from Springfield, Virginia. Kerry had asked me if I would do something for you for the retreat, and I said I'd love to. So I'm very honored that she asked me to do something for you. So I'm going to go over the materials first. I will list separately, or she will for me in the group, exactly everything that I used. So if you want to go get it, now you may not get the same ribbons and stuff, but you can adapt it to do whatever. All right. So the first thing we're going to start with is a frame. Now this has 4 rails on it, as you could see. It actually has 6 sections. Okay. So that's important. Now, this came from Dollar Tree here in the US, so I don't know if you can get this over there or if you could find one similar. This is 14 inches in diameter. This wreath that I'm doing, you can do it at various sizes. It would just be a matter of you deciding what size the ribbons. Now, because we're doing this, we're going to do it at a specific length for this. If you want to do it small, your ribbons might have to be shorter. Okay. So we have our wreath frame. We have, now because I'm using a metal sign, this says let it snow. Hopefully that's not a glare. There we go. All right. So because it's metal, I'm not going to put cable mounts or anything on it. I have a special little tool here, which when we get to the sign, I'll show you how that works. I am also using some of this. This is, I think, 24 gauge, 22 gauge floral wire green. You can use whatever color you want. Based on your design as far as colors, it is up to you. I do have one of these little boards to cut my ribbons on. If you do not, it's okay. Use a ruler, use your mat that your healing mat, as we call it, to cut it. Don't have to have that. You're going to need pipe cleaners. Your pipe cleaners normally would be about that long. We're going to cut them in half. You're going to need a total, each half, 18 of these. Okay. Your ribbons, you're going to need 5 types of ribbon. You're going to need 3 that are 2.5 inches long, wide, rather, not long. And you're going to need 2 ribbons that are 1.5 inches wide. Okay. Doesn't matter what you want. This is going to be a Christmas design that Kerry asked me to do. So we're going to deal with that. You need a pair of scissors. These are the razor. These are called Fisker razor scissors. Love them. I've had these for about 3 or 4 years now, I think. A pair of bolt cutters. If you don't have something this big, you can get ones like these. These are shorter. Or you can get ones. I have smaller ones. Where are you? These are a little bit tiny. These may be a little bit too hard, but and you can find these in the little ones in the floral section. The bigger ones you may find over there too in any local or hardware store, craft store too. All right, so let's get started. Now, the first thing we need to do is that I'm going to change cameras here. So you're going to see me reach across here to get on my computer so that I can change it. Where's my little arrow? Come here, arrow. There you are. So I'm going to change it so you're going to be off to my side looking as we're doing this. See? Ta-da! Hi. So we have our frame. But before we do anything with the frame, I like to pre-cut everything. So I will have all these pre-cut. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, like I said, 8 inches are going to be your tails. I'm going to take my ribbon. Now, normally, if you have it on a roll, you would just wind it around till you count like 1, 2, 3, 4, till you get to 18. Okay. Then what you're going to do is dovetail these. Dovetail means so it looks like the letter V. So we're going to take this and fold this in half just like this. And same for the other side. And I got a wire in the middle here. Hold that thought. Let me move that wire. There we go. Got lots of wires hanging out. and cut this side. So both ends of your ribbon are dovetailed. Again, all the ribbons are going to be cut at 8 inches long. This particular wreath has no mesh in it, has no bow in it. You can put a bow in it if you want to, but you're not going to need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ribbons and I'm going to kind of line them up. This is how I do it. You can do it differently if you want, but this is how I do it. And I'm going to make decisions of who's going to pair what. Because I have a snowman sign, I'm going to put the snowman in the middle, and I'm going to leave it that way all the time. Can you mix it up? However, yes, it is your wreath to be creative. So I'm going to take this. Now, if you have one of these bow makers, this is the easy bow maker. If you do not have that, if you have a Bowdabra, and if you have none of those, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to use my easy bow maker just because it's an easy bow maker. So if you don't have one, what I suggest is taking your ribbon, folding it in half. And let me put this more over here so you could see better what I'm doing. Okay. And then all you do is you just scrunch it up. Okay. And then you would take your next one and scrunch it up the same way. I'm going to put it in here. These are like my fingers, these two little dowels. All right. And I'm going to set this so that this one, it's going to be on the bottom, is on an angle. I'm going to take my next one. You could fold it in half. And by folding it in half, it just gives you where the center of yours is. And I'm going to scrunch this up and put it in here. This one's going to stay across in the middle here. Let me move these up a little bit so I can. Then I'm going to take my next 2.5 inch, do the same thing. Go across, pinch, and put it in. When I put this one in, I'm going to put it on an angle. So basically, it's kind of like a star. It makes a whole circle in the sense of saying. Now, the next part is that you have to decide who do you want on top of this one and on every one that this one has on top. I decided this is going to be my one on top. This has a right and a wrong side, and sometimes it's hard to tell. All right, same thing. Now with this one, because it's so thin, this one I just like to just kind of pop it in there, and then I can do it because this one's very pliable, this ribbon, and very easy to manipulate. This one, on the other hand, has the wired, gosh, my English, edges with the foil. So that one I'm going to bend and crunch, and that's going to go the opposite way, just like that. Now, you could either do it with just your pipe cleaners and tie it, or if you have these are 4-inch zip ties. I like using the 4-inch on this because this will get it really nice and tight, and we'll slide our pipe cleaner in there at the end. Now, I could have put the pipe cleaner threaded through the bottom so I can pick it all up at once. You could do it that way as well. There's no right or wrong when you're coming to designing. Now, because this is a small zip tie, I'm just going to pull it out and I'm going to push it together this way because this is tiny. And I'm going to flip it to the back so you see it's in between my two fingers. Before I do anything else, I'm just going to make sure my ribbons are kind of where I want them. Now, if it gets janky like that is, we're just going to fix it. Smooth it out. That one's going to kind of go over here to the one side with this one. And that's all I'm going to do with this. The snowman stays in the middle between the two. Okay. And when I got it where I want, I'm going to pull it really tight. And that's when your handy dandy cutters come into play. And I'm going to snip it really close to that because I don't want anybody, if it sticks out too much, people get hurt. Okay, so I'm going to put that over there. So let's do another one. this one here, I started with the black on the bottom. So I'm going to rotate it and put this one on the bottom. Going to fold it in half. Going to scrunch it up. Just like that. And because I'm keeping this one in the middle, scrunch it up, put it in the middle. So here we go. We got our X as of right now. And you see me pushing down because this design is going to be a very flat wreath. It is not going to be poofy by all means. Could you take these ribbons and curl it up, you know, with your fingers and all? Absolutely. And I'll show you if you want to do that later when we get to putting it on the wreath. All right. So on the black one, remember I wanted the polka dot to be a part of that one. Scrunch it and put it on top. So what's really alternating are the bottom two, the bottom ones of these, as well as these polka dot or this green one. Those are the ones that I'm just rotating around in this design. But again, you can rotate them however you want. It just gives it a little something, something extra, so to speak. All right. Again, if I leave this out, I can stick it in right now, or we can do it after I get this on, which I'll show you that way. And we'll just push this closed, get it somewhat closed, rotate it around. And you see I got the zip tie here. So what I'm going to do is press down on the sides of the bow or the tails and slide my pipe cleaner right through. Again, before I pull it too tight, I'm going to fix my ribbons, pull them out to make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be, where I want them to be. And again, if your ribbon is a little janky there, just fix it up. There we go. Spread it out. And then I'm just going to pull the zip tie tight. And cut it. So now, technically, you will need, here comes the fun part, 90 ribbons. You're going to need 18 of each one of these ribbons. That's a lot of ribbons. But trust me, this is a fun little project to do. I'm going to do it on here. I'm going to put one on here. Now, in placing your ribbons on, or your bows, you're going to start on the inside rail. Okay. And I'm going to try to hook this with my pipe cleaner. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip it upside down so you can see. So I'm taking the first two rails and I'm going to put this right around that one rail. Just to help hopefully anchor it. And I'm going to twist tie it shut. Now I'm not going to cut this off because I have the other ones down here that I already started for you. When it is done, you flip it back over and fix your bow. Now remember, this is a flat wreath. If you wanted this to be a little bit more poofier, you can just take your hands and just kind of roll up the ribbons so you can see how one side looks more poofy and one side's more flat. That's what you can do if you want that. Now I'm going to take this off of here because I started another wreath with all these on it to save you a little bit of time rather than you watching me put 18 ribbons on. Ta-da! So as you can see, I've started this. Now, to show you what it looks like from behind, each section, it's from bar to bar, has 3. So it's like one down, one up, one down. The next one, it usually goes up, down, that, and it kind of rotates. So wherever you finish, so like I have to put another one in here because I have 3. I have to have 3. I'm going to move my tail over, move that over. Now, what I like to do with mine, You can do it however you want, but in this version, I am having this side of the ribbon on the top side, and I've done that all the way going around. So when I put this next one in here, it's going to go right like that. So this side is on top of this one. Okay. So this is where we're going to be here. Get that green ribbon out of the way. Just like that. We're going to take the top 2 rails, or the top 2 outer rails, and we're going to tie it around there. See? And we're going to make it tight as can be. And you could see if you want them a little bit more even, just adjust them around. It gets a little funky when you get doing it opposites of what you're used to. All right, so we're just going to twist this baby just like this. And I'm going up maybe about 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm just pressing that back down. I don't want these touching the rail, so I usually run my hands over to make sure, this one's a little up, that nothing sharp is going to touch on the rail. All right, so we'll flip this back over and we'll fix that ribbon. And I'm making sure this side of the ribbon is sitting on top of this one. Let's pull my tails out a little bit. Make sure you can see everybody. Fix anything that needs to be fixed. And we go on to the next one. So I alternated. You could see I have the green on the bottom here. The plaid was on the bottom here. Oh, excuse me, the green was. Oh, and this should have been a black one. See, I made a goof. Goof, goof, goof. So let me untwist this really quick and we'll fix that. Come on, open up. There we go. I thought the black was on the bottom. So we got to put a black one on the bottom there. So I like to flip it up like this because see how I slid it right in? I could slide it right in underneath there. And then my bow is pretty much where I want it to be as far as being on top of the other one. Okay, now we got it right. All right, there we go. So if you forget, this one has the red on top, this is green on top. This one has red on top, green on top. So if that also helps me to do it, if I do it right, if I watch that part. So now I'm going to do one so the green ribbon is on top. Okay, again, I'm going to flip it over. And I'm just going to stick this in because I finished on the top, the outer 2. I'm going to do this one on the bottom 2 or the inner 2, however you would like to choose to say it. Push that down, bring it over, make sure, pull that ribbon a little bit out of the way, and spread my ribbons out again. Voila. Go back. So now I need a black one or the buffalo check. Slide that in. I found it to be easier to do it like this. In my opinion, you may find a better way for it to go, and that's fine as well. Let me move it this way. Okay. All right, we have a few more to do, and then we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so red is on top, so now I need a green one. So this is a really simple project. It doesn't require a lot of material, as far as meaning you need mesh, you need, a lot of ribbon to make bows, a lot of zip ties, or a lot of pipe cleaners, in the sense of being the, using more pipe cleaners, being the full size that they are. So this can be cost effective. It also works for people that don't have, if they don't have a good, if they have a screen door and they don't have a lot of space between the screen door. And most of them have it where it's about 4 inches, at least here we do. Some people have it extended where you could put a bigger wreath in it. So this works for a lot of people in small places like that, for as far as doors, as well as if you don't have a lot of place to store things. If you're in some sort of like an apartment, you know, you don't have access to all these attics and stuff that people that have houses have maybe. So this is another way that makes it easier for people to store their product, their item. Okay, so did I do that right? Did I look? Did I do that right? No, I was like, how did I have 2? Silly me. I get to talking and I'm not paying attention. Goodness gracious. It's always bloopers. They make it fun. Yep, red, green. Should be red on top. Did I do that wrong? Where did I go wrong? Red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. Green, red, green, red, green, red, green. Okay. I'm good. Here it is. Wanted to make sure before I put another one on wrong. Now, as you can see, we're getting close to the edge here. So it's going to make it a little bit harder to put together, because you're going to be dealing a lot with trying to push a lot of the ribbon out of the way. But if you do tulip wreaths, it's kind of the same thing when you're trying to layer tulips down, that trying to sneak them in under the other one. It kind of makes it a little hard when you get towards the end. Okay, so we're good. So we need a red one. All right, so this is going to go on the inner one here. Now, like because it's getting close, I'm going to sneak it in this way and do it just like this. And then I'm going to pop it over. And stick it in just like that. Okay. And again, because the way I'm working the direction, I'm going to make sure that this is laying on top. Got one more to stick in there. Okay, just like that. And the last one is going to go right in there. We'll pull up these sides. And we'll stick it just like this. This one's going to go on the upper 2 out rails. And we are done. So bear with, keep hanging out there with me, because this will be just fine when it's all done. Okay. So now, any of the ribbons, what I like to do is I just go back and I'll just flatten them back out. I don't want anything curled up in the corners or anything, so I usually just go around the edges on the outside first to make sure they're all kind of flat. Because that would also give it more volume this way. Then I'll look on the inside parts to make sure nobody's all curled up there. And we have a wreath. See? Now there's a big hole here. But we're gonna hopefully see, my sign should fix that. Yes. All right, so now this is a metal sign. Because it's metal, I don't like to use what we call cable mounts. It's a little square you can peel and stick on there or glue it on, because metal and glue sometimes doesn't like it. You can use what we call E6000 or some super glue if you want to, but I like to use the wire because then I know it's not going to come off. Now this does not have holes on the side, which is where I want to mount it. So I have this little puncher thing. I think you can find this in the jewelry section in a craft store. And I'm just going to take it. There's a little bit of a lip here, and I'm going to punch it right through there. And it makes a little tiny hole. I don't know if you could see that. Can you see the little bitty? You may not be able to. There's a little bitty hole right there. And I'm just going to guess how long I need my wire to be. It's not going to be too long because this is a thin wreath. It's not like it has to go through tons of mesh to get to the other side. And let me just put that back up here so it finishes up here. All right. So we're going to thread this through. Now what's good about this wreath too, if you're worried about price points, if you go to shows, this is a good one that doesn't cost a lot to make, like I said. So it's a good wreath that you can use on a lower price point to sell at your shows or in your shop, wherever. And all the ribbons are what we call waterproof. So if they go outside, they will dry. Okay, so now the object is to put this in the middle. Now, you can take this. I'm going to angle this up a little bit. I could put this down here, which is okay too. But I'm one of those people, I want the hole covered. So I'm going to put it through the hole, through the middle. Could you put it on the side? I don't think so for this one. I would either think the bottom. You could put it up at the top. It just depends on your sign. So I'm going to put this one in the middle. Now this came from Decoexchange here in Louisiana. The wire you can find at any of your craft stores or maybe a florist or wherever. The ribbons came from various places. And like I said, I will list that for you once all this is over. I'll put a list of everything down there for you. But it comes from the USA, but you, again, can use whatever you want ribbons. You just got to pick 5 of them. All right, so on the sign, I'm going to take the 2 inner 2 here. So one of my wires is going to come on that side. And I'm just going to twist it a little bit just to kind of hold it in place till I get the other one on the other side. However you want to put your sign on, however you can figure it out to do it, punch it through. I don't like to go through the ribbon on this particular project, but if you feel you must, when you're using mesh, yes, you have to go through the mesh. I felt the wire. Where did you go? Bring it up right there in between the 2 bows. Okay, maybe not. Here you are. It's so skinny and hard to see. Okay. Flip it over, see if that's where I want it. That's exactly where I want it. Now, you can bring your tails of your bow up on top of the sign, but you want to make sure you don't cover the words of your sign because that would not look so pretty. So I'm going to see which ones I want to bring up. I think it's going to be every other bow possibly on this one. And let's see how that goes. Because some of them may be hiding too much down there. And we want them all to be seen if we can. Now see, that's going to cover too much of the words in my opinion. So I may not want to do that. on that one. So I'm going to put that one, sneak that one back underneath. And I'm going to take this one right next to it instead. So see, that one's a little bit better. I know it shows that it covers some of it, but this is where I can take some of this and spread this out. And rotate my tails a little bit, and that would be fine. Now, the only reason for doing this is if you don't really want to see the edge of your sign like this. And that's the only reason for doing this. And it all depends on your sign itself. So if it's something that's wider, you may want to just pull out 2 bows. You may not want to pull any of them out at all. It all depends. It's all up to you. Now this is where I'm going to skip here, I think. Put you back under, and I'm going to pull this one up instead. Because this one's more in the corner like. So that way it kind of balances it out that way. I'm missing a ribbon. There we go. Just like that. Let's see how that looks. Oh, I might have to pull one out from here. Let's see if I could do it with these guys. I think I'm going to have to pull that one out. After I just tucked it back. Yeah. Tuck that one back under. And that way it kind of hides the edges of it a little bit. So it's not so like, oh, this is just stuck on top. And then like these, I can bend these up just a little bit if I want to. So it doesn't cover as much as the sign. You can see the sign a little bit better. And that way it still gives it an edge. You know, with the ribbons covering around it. And there we go. You have a wreath. Now I'm going to switch cameras here with you guys so you can see it. I'm going to hold it up for you. Bear with. All right. So there we go. It's perfect. See? I'm going to stand up so I can see if I got you in the... This is backwards. So let me shine this other light on. Maybe that might help a little bit. That might blind you. So that's what it looks like when it's all complete. This way. This way. You got a glare in there because that's my computer. So see, perfect little wreath. And look how thin it is. This actually comes out to be about 3 inches in thickness. So again, it makes a perfect wreath for somebody that needs to put it in between a door, or if they don't have a lot of storage area, they can use one of these. All right. So that's going to be it from NonnasNuttykrafts. Enjoy the retreat, everybody, because you're going to have a lot of fun there. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time at NonnasNuttykrafts. Bye-bye.